To take on what happened yesterday.
It's one of those things that sneaks up on you because you don't know you're in the middle of it until you're in the middle of it.
Oftentimes when we think about responding to a trauma, we're here, we're in the moment, 1 or 2 days afterwards, and we've got such emotion individually inside of ourselves and then in our community. And oftentimes we don't know what to do with those feelings yet. Maybe something hasn't really hit us until we drive by a location or we see a cop car coming down the road.
It's a really weird internal conflict because I'm so thankful that I'm okay. I'm so thankful that my loved ones are okay, but at the same time, I kind of have this righteous indignation. You ask yourself, who would do this? Why would they do this?
6 totes of coffee we made last night went to the police department, and this right now is going to the hospital.
This is a great community. It's a sad thing that happened. It's a sad chapter in our history, but Midland will get through this. Midland, Odessa, the whole Permian Basin.
Tonight we have continuing coverage of the Saturday mass shooting. News West 9 has learned the gunman's name. He's been identified as 36-year-old Seth Ator. We are letting you know his name. We're only naming him today, not to glorify him in any way, but to let you know as our viewers the latest information we have learned in the last few hours. We have learned that he has a criminal record, which includes an arrest in McLennan County, where he faced an evading arrest charge in 2001. Well, one point of the focus of Sunday's investigation into this mass shooting was a home in West Odessa, where FBI agents executed a search warrant. Chris Costa explains the connection to the suspected shooter.
FBI agents are collecting evidence from this West Odessa home that they believe has a connection to this shooting. That gold Toyota police were investigating, it's registered to this address, and the name on that registration, it's the same as the man that police have identified to be the alleged shooter. Now, one neighbor tells me she would see a man at this property shoot guns randomly at night. She says he owned at least 2, a rifle and a handgun, and one time he came to her door with that rifle. Earlier today, FBI, ATF, and DEA agents wearing tactical gear used an armored vehicle to get inside this home. They used a loudspeaker telling anybody in the home that they have a search warrant and to come out with their hands up. They also used an Odessa police bomb squad robot inside the home. It's unclear right now what they were looking for here, and it's also unclear if the suspected shooter lived here. Other people who live in this neighborhood say watching all of this unfold puts them on edge.
I lived in El Paso, and when I was out there, that happened. Now this happens here. Just kind of want to go back home, I guess.
Why is this scary?
Doing this to each other, I guess. Just killing innocent people for no reason.
The man was very aggressive, and we recognized the car on Facebook. That woman you just heard from says she called police a month ago, but they could not find this address on GPS. Now the FBI is scouring this property for any evidence that could help them piece this puzzle together. Police say that people in town should expect to see many search warrants being executed over the next couple of days. In West Odessa, I'm Chris Costa.
Well, tonight we've also learned the name of the postal worker who was shot and killed. The Postal Service has identified her as 29-year-old Mary Granados. Investigators say she was out delivering the mail on Adams Avenue near Wilson and Young Middle School when she was gunned down. Officers say the suspect then took off in her mail delivery van. In a statement to News West 9, the Postal Service says it's shocked and saddened by the events yesterday. They're grieving the loss of a postal family member and continue to keep her family in their thoughts. They add the U.S. Postal Inspection Service, the law enforcement arm of the Postal Service, is working closely with law enforcement to help with the investigation. Tonight, we have an update on the shooting victims. Here's what we know in the case so far. 7 people are dead. The latest died today at Midland Memorial Hospital. The victims' ages range from 15 to 57. The Ator County School District confirmed the 15-year-old is an Odessa High student. We've learned she was a basketball player. 3 officers were also injured, a state trooper, a Midland police officer, and an Odessa police officer. Officials say the state trooper is expected to recover. A 17-month-old little girl, Anderson Davis, was also shot, grazed by a bullet in the face. She was flown to University Medical Center in Lubbock. Governor Greg Abbott gave an update on her condition at a press conference here this afternoon.
Some of you know that one of the victims is a 17-month-old child. And moments before coming in here, I received a text from the mother of this 17-month-old. I want to read you the text of what this mother wrote. She said, quote, "Thank you all for praying. This is all of our worst nightmare. But thank God she's alive and relatively well." She goes on to say that toddlers are funny because they can get shot but still want to run around and play. She says that we are thanking God for that. Her mouth is pretty bad, but will heal and can be fixed.
That 17-month-old has been discharged, and here's the latest on the people still being treated at Medical Center Hospital. 11 patients are still there. 1 is in critical condition, 2 are in serious condition, and 8 are in fair condition. 1 patient has already been treated and released, and we just got one more update from them. It says 2 of the patients in critical care. 1 has been moved to the 4th floor telemetry unit. The other remains in critical care but is in stable condition. Meanwhile, community members rallied together today to support the victims and their families involved in this tragic shooting. Mid-City's Church on Highway 191 held special services this morning to honor those who were killed and injured yesterday. The lead pastor there says people are scared and filled with fear, so this is a good opportunity to go back to church and center back on what people believe in.
The community is definitely a strong one. It's you know, Midland, Odessa is a boom bust community. We've been through hard times, we've been through good times, and this is definitely one of the hardest times we've gone through. But we've bounced back every single other time, and we'll do it this time as well.
And the community is certainly not done rallying together after yesterday's shooting. There is a vigil that is set to start at UTPB in about 2 hours. Of course, we'll have a report from there coming up a little later. We'll be right back.
Sitting at home exploring. Welcome back. Now, you may be sitting at home trying to explore some ways to help the victims of yesterday's shooting. A popular avenue to donate is through GoFundMe pages, but unfortunately that does come with the risk of running into scams. So today we reached out to GoFundMe officials so you can safeguard your donations. Now, here's a link to the official GoFundMe portal to support those impacted in yesterday's shooting. Officials say this page features fundraisers that have been verified by sources and are GoFundMe guaranteed. Any other GoFundMe accounts that you come across on social media or the internet may not be benefiting the victims directly, or possibly not at all. Now, if you click that link, this will be the page that you're brought to. You can see here that these GoFundMe pages are verified and have the GoFundMe guarantee right here. And the fundraisers are that have been set up so far for the 17-month-old victim that was shot, the Midland police officer that was injured, the mail carrier that we told you about, Mary Granados, that was killed, the DPS officer that was injured, and Mary Encianosa, who was also injured in that shooting. So if you want to make sure that your donations go to the right place, go to somewhere that's been verified. GoFundMe told us that we can guarantee those are all verified and will go to the right resources. And if you didn't have a chance to write down that link, that's okay. Just go to our website at newswest9.com and you can find that portal again. Crystal, back to you.
Well, as you can imagine, Governor Greg Abbott had a lot to say at today's press conference. Just last week, he was in El Paso, a community torn apart by a mass shooting. Well, today in West Texas, he urged all Texans to unite.
Most of all, in the aftermath of what happened here in Odessa, we must replicate what we have seen in El Paso, Sutherland Springs, Santa Fe, and in Dallas. And that is, we must do what Texans do best. In times of tragedy, we unite. We come together. We support each other. We reinvigorate our community with the love that we have for one another.
Also at the press conference today, the police chief in Odessa said he is confident that the shooter acted alone. So far, law enforcement hasn't discovered a motive or reason for the shooting. In this aftermath, many officials have come forward with words of support for our community. We've already heard from police officials and Governor Abbott, but here's what Midland County Judge Terry Johnson had to say about the shooting.
This community is a strong community. We will pull together. We will support those that were affected. We'll support those families who lost family members. We will pull together and support those who were injured. So this is a great community. It's a sad thing that happened. It's a sad chapter in our history, but Midland will get through this. Midland, Odessa, the whole Permian Basin.
He says the theme here is that the sun will rise tomorrow because we are Midland and Odessa strong, and we are West Texas strong. We'll have more coverage right after the break. It is no surprise that the events of Saturday's mass shooting have affected many. Despite the tragedy, some local businesses are giving back in their own way, including Corporal Ray's Coffee. The company just donated 6 gallons of coffee to local hospitals today, and that's about $162 worth of coffee. A small donation with a huge impact. Our Camille Resquiestas spoke to barista Kelsey Ellis about giving back.
So we basically hand prep everything. We hand steam our milk, we hand press our shots and time them and make sure it's the perfect cup of coffee. Someone volunteered to buy the house coffee and take it to the police department. And so that's why we came up here. And then this was called in by the hospital, but Jerry Bevel, the owner, is going to give it to them. It is a white chocolate and a caramel drizzle. It is named after Jerry Bevel's son, who the shop is in honor of his name. He passed away in 2007, I believe. I've been making this for about 3 hours. The tote is 5 gallons, but we don't have any left because they're all at the police department. So we have to give them the 3 gallons. And so I'm exhausted. What makes me wake up in the morning is knowing that I'm one of the first people see in the mornings, and I basically can go how their day is going to be started. And so that just keeps me going to know that I can at least bring a little bit of happiness in this time of tragedy. Something to help other people keep going. Oh, Jerry, head over heels for our first responders. If he's here at the time that they come through the drive-thru, he'll just give them free drinks. This is his way of giving back to the community and saying thank you.
And is this your way of giving back as well?
Yeah, I don't have very many talents, but I can make a really good cup of coffee.
Well, so many in our community are giving back, and that includes La Paz Purchase Funeral Home. They're offering free funeral services to those who lost loved ones. Now, we had a chance to speak with the manager and the office manager about their initial reactions to the shooting and why they feel it's so important to give back to the community this way.
El Paso has gone through the same thing as our community is going through. The first things out of Mr. Purchase's mouth were, Ray, what is going on with these people? What's wrong with these people?
Well, I heard about it. Actually, I was going to go to the movies today, and I heard about it, and I said, you know, the phone rang immediately. He found out about it, and he said, Ruth, where are you? What are you doing?
The main thing is to make things easier for them, the transition of losing a loved one, because it's going to be a new life, because that individual is going to be gone out of their lives. And that's what we do, and we help and assist in the celebration of that individual's life.
Actually, our director told me, prepare for this weekend. It's going to be something hard. We're going to go through something, and I prepared. I was ready with my phone. I was ready with everything. My staff is ready to go, and I did knew something was coming. We had a feeling, I don't know, but we did have a feeling. We talked about it, Mr. Chapa and I.
3 law enforcement officers were among the dozens who were shot on Saturday. Midland County Chief Deputy Rory McKinney says he's proud of his deputies, and he wanted to thank all first responders.
Midland Memorial Hospital and their staff give a huge heart thank you to. They did an excellent job in caring for the citizens that were injured, even some of the law enforcement officers if they went to Midland Memorial. But they shut down the hospital and just took care of the citizens that needed the most immediate attention.
No Midland County deputies were injured in that shooting. One Midland police officer, though, is still recovering. As you can imagine, police are going to be investigating this shooting for weeks to come. We've been told that there are well more than 15 different crime scenes between Midland and Odessa, and that number continues to rise. During this time, the FBI is asking any of you with information about the shooting to contact their National Threat Operations Center. That number is 1-800-CALL-FBI. That phone number is also there on your screen. Tips can be reported anonymously as well. Just go to tipsfbi.gov. We'll be right back.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Crystal, Dr. Bose is used to responding to mass shootings, but he's used to responding to mass shootings in a desert on the other.
Tonight we want to show you what some of the victims experienced while they were at the Odessa Synergy. It was a time full of panic and fear. The video has been blurred, but before we play it, we want to warn you it's going to be hard to listen to, and some might find it graphic. Okay, we'll have that video in just a moment. Well, as the suspect was indiscriminately shooting at innocent people, families were sitting inside the Synergy movie theater when SWAT and other police told them to evacuate, putting them right in the middle of the chaos. Reporter Roxy Bustamante spoke with one of the witnesses who crossed paths with the shooter.
All we thought was like, oh no, he's gonna go right through there and he's gonna hit those people or shoot them or do something.
Simona Rivas says just minutes after getting an alert on her phone that there was an active shooter, SWAT, police, and DPS troopers were swarming the Synergy movie theater.
They were just yelling, get out, get out, get out. You know, that's all we could hear.
Rivas, her son and husband ran out through the front doors and luckily made it out to their car.
And as we were driving out, we were crossing the intersection, and as we crossed it, we looked back because there was police officers heading west. Then they were heading back east on the same road, but they were chasing the U.S. Postal van. That's when we realized that must be the shooter.
She says the suspect was heading straight towards a crowd of people standing outside of the theater.
Maybe 100 people that went out through the back of the theater. They were just standing there.
Standing in the middle of danger. She says an officer slammed into the stolen U.S. mail van, and then police started shooting at the suspect. All of this, her son captured while they were watching from their car.
You know, we saw it with our own eyes, you know, so it's not something that you forget. It's not something that it just goes away. You know, you can't erase it, you know, so it's going to take some healing for everyone, you know, but thank God that we're good, you know, we're fine, we're alive, and I just feel bad for all the family members who lost their loved ones, you know, because they're from here, you know, they live in our community, you know, we're supposed to be safe in our own homes, in our own community, and unfortunately, we're not.
Roxy Bustamante, News West 9.
Well, 13 victims came through the emergency room at Medical Center Hospital yesterday. One of the doctors who was on call was Dr. Bose, but this isn't his first experience with a mass shooting. He was a physician in the Iraqi war for 12 years. News West 9's Sammy Steele caught up with the veteran earlier today and joins us now live from Medical Center Hospital. Sammy.
Crystal, Dr. Bose is used to responding to mass shootings, but he's used to responding to mass shootings in a desert on the other side of the world. But yesterday, his team had to respond to a mass shooting right here in this desert, in the Permian Basin, on domestic soil.
Is in these situations, whether it's in the military or what happened here in West Texas, is the providers are just trained, and they're trained to shift into a mode where you can focus on getting the job done and focus on the mission. And that's what our techs, our nurses, our operating room staff, our leadership, everyone did.
The mission for the hospital was to save the lives of the 14 shooting victims in need of medical assistance. Bose says the heroism he witnessed yesterday reminded him of what he saw in the Iraqi war.
Steps are the same. I think what struck me is the heroism and the sense of sacrifice that the frontline responders, EMS, police, sheriffs, what they did selflessly, and just what you see is this sense of just service where despite the danger, they go in there, they take care of people. So that was very similar to the military.
Bose says the size and resources the medical center has didn't make a difference in how they treated patients.
If a community like this came together in West Texas, and we aren't, an urban area, this can be done anywhere. You just have to plan ahead of time.
For Bose, training is what made saving lives possible.
Preparation is the key. I mean, these things just don't happen. You have to have thought about it ahead of time. For us, we actually formed committees and planned this. I think, nationwide, it may not be a matter of if, it may be a matter of when in your community.
The War Doctor veteran compared responding to a mass shooting a lot like a sprint. He says after the sprint, psychologically making peace with what happened and moving forward is more like a marathon. And that marathon for all of us is just getting started. Crystal.
All right, thanks, Sammy. We'll be right back. Well, News West 9 will continue to update you as new information comes in on this mass shooting. We will be back on air tonight at 10 p.m. You can also follow us on social media and online at newswest9.com. That's all the time we have for News West 9. We will see you at 10.